Have you ever waited for rescue long enough to understand that no one was coming? I had, and the worst part was not the fear of dying. It was knowing that my own people had decided we were too expensive to save. Before I tell you how a human warship changed everything, take 1 second to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this story with someone who loves science fiction. It helps more people discover stories from the darkest corners of the galaxy. My name is Commander Leora Senator. At the time, I commanded the exploration cruiser Silver Dawn, a ship of the Avarian Union. We were not soldiers. The Silver Dawn carried scientists, engineers, medical officers, mapping experts, and 23 young students who were completing their first journey beyond the protected borders of our territory. Our mission was supposed to be peaceful. We had been sent to study the Orphean Expanse, a region filled with unusual stars, broken moons, and clouds of glowing dust that could hide entire solar systems. No enemy fleet was expected there. No war had been declared. No warning had been issued. That was why the attack surprised us so completely. The first enemy missile struck our rear engine before the battle alarm could finish its opening sound. The second tore through our communication tower. The third hit the lower habitat ring, killing 34 people in less than 4 seconds. I remember being thrown from my command chair. I remember the bridge lights turning red. I remember the sound of someone screaming my name. Then the gravity failed, and every loose object on the bridge began floating through the air. Damage report. I shouted. My voice sounded distant inside my own head. Lieutenant Oren, our chief engineer, held himself against his console with one arm while his other hand moved across the damaged controls. Main engine is gone, he said. Secondary engine is losing power. Lower habitat ring has been opened to space. Emergency doors are closing, but some of them are not responding. Enemy identification. Our sensor officer, Tara Mal, stared at her screen. Her face had turned pale. 3 ships, she said. Krovan design. Heavy attack vessels. The name made the bridge silent. The Krovan Dominion had spent 50 years expanding through smaller systems at the edge of known space. They did not sign treaties unless those treaties gave them control. They did not take prisoners unless the prisoners had useful information. Most importantly, they never attacked without knowing exactly how weak their target was. Why would they be here? Oren asked. I already knew the answer. The Orphean Expanse was not empty. The Krovans had probably built a hidden base inside it. Our exploration mission had discovered something we were never meant to see. That meant they could not allow us to escape. Raise shields, I ordered. Turn us toward the dust field. Use whatever engine power remains. The Silver Dawn shook as another strike hit our shields. The lights above us exploded. A piece of burning metal passed close to my face. Shields at 51%. Tara shouted. Send a priority warning to Union Command. Communication tower is destroyed. Use the emergency transmitter. It has a limited range. Use it anyway. Tara opened the emergency channel. This is the Avarian exploration cruiser Silver Dawn. We are under attack by Krovan warships in the Orphean Expanse. We have civilians and students aboard. We require immediate military support and medical evacuation. She repeated the message on every frequency our damaged systems could reach. No answer came. The enemy ships fired again. One blast struck the side of our vessel and sent a vibration through the floor so powerful that I felt it in my bones. Shields at 34%. Return fire. We only have defensive cannons, our weapons officer said. Then use them. Small energy beams flashed from our ship toward the nearest Krovan vessel. They hit its shield and disappeared without causing visible damage. The Krovans did not return fire immediately. They slowed down. They surrounded us. They were studying us. That frightened me more than their weapons. Predators sometimes chased prey quickly. But when they knew the prey had nowhere to go, they became patient. We entered the glowing dust field with 2 engines dead and our final engine operating at less than 40%. The Krovan ships followed. For the next 11 hours, we tried to hide. The dust disturbed our sensors and blocked normal communication, but it also confused enemy targeting systems. Whenever the Krovans found us, they fired. Whenever they fired, we changed direction. Each time, our damaged ship became slower. Each time, fewer systems came back online. Medical rooms filled with wounded crew members and terrified students. Some of the students had never seen blood before. Now they were carrying injured people through dark corridors while the walls shook around them. I left the bridge once during those 11 hours. I went to the main medical room to check on the civilians. Dr. Pellas met me at the door. His uniform was covered in dark blue Avarian blood. How bad? I asked. 71 wounded. 11 may not survive the next few hours. Do you have enough medicine? He looked away. That was his answer. Behind him, one of the students sat beside an injured teacher. The student held the teacher's hand with both of hers and kept saying that help was coming. The teacher smiled at her. But the teacher's eyes met mine. She knew the truth. No rescue ship had answered us. No military force was moving toward our position. Our own emergency transmitter could barely send a signal beyond the expanse. Even if Union Command had heard us, the nearest fleet base was almost 2 days away. The Silver Dawn did not have 2 days. I returned to the bridge. Send the distress call again, I told Tara. She sent it. Nothing answered. 3 hours later, our secondary life support system failed. 2 hours after that, the Krovans destroyed our remaining defensive cannon. By the time our ship reached the center of the expanse, only one shield generator was still working. We discovered a dead star ahead of us, surrounded by pieces of destroyed planets. There was nowhere else to go. I ordered the ship into orbit around the largest broken moon. We used its ruins as protection while the enemy vessels moved around us. The Krovans stopped firing. That silence told me the final attack was close. How long can we maintain life support? I asked. Oren checked the numbers. 6 hours if we keep every section open. And if we close the damaged areas? Maybe 10. Weapons? None. Engines? Not enough power to escape orbit. Emergency shuttles? 2 are damaged. 1 may still launch, but it can only carry 12 people. There were 186 survivors aboard. 12 seats would not save us. I opened a secure channel to Union Command. Our main communications array was gone, but Oren had connected the emergency transmitter to the ship's navigation system. It gave us enough power to send one narrow signal toward Avarian territory. The reply came 40 minutes later. I felt hope when the message notification appeared. I should not have. The message was short. Commander Leora-sen, your distress signal has been received. Current intelligence confirms the presence of a large Krovan military force in the Orphean expanse. Sending a rescue fleet would risk the security of 3 populated border systems. The Silver Dawn is therefore classified as unrecoverable. Preserve all scientific and military data. Prevent capture if possible. Your service will be remembered. I read it twice. Then I read it a third time. Unrecoverable. That was the word they chose. Not abandoned. Not sacrificed. Not left to die. Unrecoverable. A simple word that made 186 lives disappear inside a military calculation. What does command say? Tara asked. Everyone on the bridge was watching me. I could have lied. I could have told them that ships were coming. I could have given them a few final hours of false hope. But they deserved better than another comfortable lie. No rescue force will be sent, I said. Command believes the risk is too great. No one spoke. Oren lowered his head. Tara closed her eyes. Our weapons officer turned away from me and stared at the black screen in front of him. The bridge felt colder. The Union had always taught us that survival depended on careful decisions. We protected important worlds. We avoided battles we could not win. We did not risk thousands to save hundreds. I had believed that philosophy my entire life. Now I was one of the hundreds. Suddenly, the wisdom of the Union felt very different. What are our orders? Orin asked. Preserve our data and prevent capture. Prevent capture, he repeated. We both knew what those words meant. Destroy the ship before the Crovens could take us alive. I looked around the bridge. These people trusted me. The students trusted me. The injured trusted me. Even the dying trusted me to find a way forward. But there was no way forward. I returned to the medical room and told Dr. Pellas the truth. He did not look surprised. I thought that would be their decision, he said. How? Because it is the decision they always make when the numbers become uncomfortable. The Union has survived for 900 years because of those decisions. Perhaps, he said. But survival is not the same thing as goodness. I had no reply. Near the far wall, the young student was still sitting beside her injured teacher. Is help coming? She asked me. Her name was Sally. She was 19 years old. It was her first journey away from home. I looked at her hopeful face and felt my courage disappear. We sent the message, I said. That was not an answer. She understood. Her eyes filled with tears, but she did not cry. She simply held the teacher's hand more tightly. I returned to the bridge and ordered one final distress transmission. Not because I expected an answer. I sent it because doing nothing felt worse. Tara activated the transmitter. This is Commander Leorasen of the Avarian exploration cruiser Silver Dawn. Our government has classified our vessel as unrecoverable. We have lost engines, weapons, and most medical systems. 186 survivors remain aboard, including civilians and students. Crovan forces are preparing a final attack. To any vessel receiving this message, our time is almost gone. The signal vanished into the expanse. Only silence returned. For 23 minutes, nothing happened. Then the darkness behind the Crovan ships moved. At first, I thought it was another dust cloud. Then space itself began to bend. A circular shadow formed between the stars. It was darker than the void around it. Blue lightning moved along its edge. Our sensors screamed warnings. Unknown gravitational event. Tara shouted. Is it a weapon? I do not know. The Crovan ships turned toward the shadow. Their weapons charged. For the first time since the attack began, their attention was no longer focused on us. Something was coming. The shadow opened. A warship emerged from the void. It did not arrive through a normal jump point. It did not create the bright flash used by Union engines. It simply appeared, moving out of the darkness as if the darkness had been a doorway. The vessel was enormous. Its hull was long, wide, and covered in heavy armor. Hundreds of small lights ran along its sides. Two great engine sections burned with a steady white glow. Symbols were painted across its forward hull. Our translation system struggled to read them. Then the words appeared on my screen. UNS Last Light. Below the name was a blue and white planet. Earth. Human, Tara whispered. The ship was human. For generations, the Avarian Union had treated humanity as a distant and unstable species. Humans lived beyond several unclaimed regions. They rarely attended Union meetings. They rejected many trade restrictions. They settled dangerous planets that sensible species avoided. Most Avarians believed humans were brave only because they did not understand risk. Standing on my bridge, watching that giant vessel place itself between us and 3 Crovan attack ships, I wondered whether the old stories had been completely wrong. A transmission reached us. The voice was calm, clear, and human. Silver Dawn, this is Captain Elena Ward of the United Nations Warship Last Light. We received your distress call. Please confirm the number of survivors and the condition of your life support systems. No one on my bridge moved. We had listened to silence for so long that an answer felt impossible. Commander, Tara said softly, they are waiting. I opened the channel myself. Last light, this is Commander Leora Senator. We have 186 survivors. Life support may last 5 hours. We have 11 critically wounded and no working weapons. Understood, the human captain replied. Keep your remaining shields active. Medical and evacuation teams are preparing now. I could not understand her words. Captain, there are 3 Krovan heavy attack vessels between you and us. I see them. Our scans suggest additional enemy forces may be hidden inside the expanse. We see those too. I looked at Terra. Our own sensors could not find any hidden vessels. The human ship had detected them moments after arriving. You should withdraw, I told Captain Ward. Our government refused rescue because the risk was considered unacceptable. There was a pause. Then she answered. Your government is not commanding my ship. The Krovan commander opened a wide transmission. His voice was deep and rough. Human vessel, you have entered Dominion-controlled space. The Avarian ship is our lawful prize. Leave immediately. Captain Ward responded without raising her voice. We received a distress call from a civilian vessel. We are taking its survivors aboard. You have no authority here. Neither do you. Withdraw, human, or your ship will be destroyed. The human captain remained silent for 3 seconds. When she spoke again, her voice was almost polite. Krovan commander, you have fired on an unarmed exploration vessel carrying civilians. You have killed people who were not a threat to you. You are currently blocking a medical evacuation. They entered restricted space. Then you could have ordered them to leave. They discovered Dominion operations. That still does not give you the right to murder them. Rights are protected by power. Captain Ward's answer came immediately. On that point, we agree. If you are enjoying this journey into the Orphean Expanse, press the like button now, subscribe so you do not miss the next HFY adventure, and share the video with a fellow sci-fi fan. The last light has arrived, but the real battle is only beginning. The human ship changed position. Armor sections moved along its hull. Hidden weapon systems rose from beneath thick protective plates. Our sensors filled with energy readings. Orin stared at the numbers. Commander, he said, that ship is producing more power than an entire Union battle group. The Krovan vessels spread into attack formation. 3 more contacts appeared from inside the dust clouds. Then 2 more. 8 enemy warships surrounded the last light. My hope disappeared as quickly as it had come. 1 human ship might defeat 3 Krovans. It could not defeat 8. Captain Ward, I said urgently, there are more of them. I know. You are surrounded. I know that too. Then why are you not leaving? Because you are still here. The simplicity of her answer struck me harder than any weapon. The Krovans opened fire. Dozens of red energy beams crossed the darkness. Missiles followed behind them. Every weapon hit the last light. The human vessel vanished inside a sphere of fire. Selly's voice came through the bridge communication system. Commander, what is happening? I did not answer. Everyone watched the burning cloud. For several terrible seconds, no shape could be seen inside it. Then the fire faded. The last light remained. Its shields glowed blue across the surface of the hull. The shield had changed shape at the moment of impact, becoming thicker where the enemy weapon struck. Shield strength? I asked. Terra checked the readings. I cannot measure it accurately. Estimate. More than 90%. 8 Krovan ships had fired together. The human shield had lost less than 10% of its power. The last light returned fire. It did not use a wide attack. It fired 1 narrow white beam. The beam crossed the distance instantly and struck the engine section of the nearest Krovan vessel. The ship's engines died. Its weapons went dark. It began drifting through space. A second beam hit another ship. Its shield collapsed, but the vessel did not explode. The humans were not trying to destroy the enemy crews. They were disabling them. The Krovans fired again. The last light moved forward. I had never seen a vessel of that size move so quickly. Its engines burned white, and the ship turned between two waves of missiles. Defensive cannons along its hull destroyed each missile before it came close. Small craft launched from the human ship. At first, I thought they were fighters. Then Terra magnified the image. They were machines without pilots. Hundreds of human drones spread around the battlefield. Some protected the last light. Others flew toward the Krovan vessels and attached themselves to their armor. "What are they doing?" Oren asked. The answer came seconds later. The drones released powerful electromagnetic waves. Krovan targeting systems failed. Their formation broke apart. The human ship fired again. A third enemy vessel lost its weapons. A fourth lost its engines. The Krovan commander shouted across the open channel. "What kind of ship is this?" Captain Ward answered. "A rescue ship." The Krovan commander laughed. "That vessel is a dreadnought. Today it is a rescue ship." Two enemy vessels tried to move around the last light and attack us. The human ship reacted instantly. Its great body turned. A section of its shield extended outward, forming a glowing wall between the Krovan weapons and the Silver Dawn. The enemy fire struck the extended shield. Our damaged vessel was not touched. "They are protecting us with their own shield," Terra said. Such a thing should not have been possible. Shield generators were designed to surround a single vessel. Extending protection across thousands of kilometers required power and control beyond anything the Union possessed. The last light did it while fighting 6 active enemy warships. Our emergency receiver detected another human transmission. This one was not directed at us. "All rescue wings, begin approach. Guardian teams, maintain cover. Medical transport has priority." 6 human shuttles launched from the warship. They flew toward us while the battle continued. "They are sending shuttles now?" Oren asked. "The fighting is not over. Apparently the humans do not intend to wait." The first shuttle reached our docking port. The outer door opened, and 12 humans entered the Silver Dawn. They wore dark rescue armor with white medical markings. Their leader removed her helmet. She had brown skin, short black hair, and calm eyes. "I am Major Sofia Reyes," she said. "Where are your critical patients?" Dr. Pellas guided her team toward the medical room. The humans moved quickly, but they did not panic. They carried portable medical equipment more advanced than anything aboard our vessel. One human engineer remained near the docking port. He examined the damaged controls. "Your power connection is unstable," he told Oren. "It has been damaged by repeated weapons fire. I can connect one of our shuttle generators. That system is not compatible with Avarian technology." The human opened a case full of tools. "Give me 5 minutes." It took him 4. Power returned to 2 corridors and 1 medical room. Humans continued boarding. They carried the wounded toward the shuttles. They gave blankets to the students. They placed small breathing masks over injured crew members. One human soldier found Selly beside her teacher. "Can she be moved?" he asked. Dr. Pellas shook his head. "Her internal injuries are severe." The soldier touched a communication device on his collar. "Emergency surgical patient. I need a mobile support unit in Section 12. A small machine arrived minutes later. It floated above the floor and projected medical scans across the room. Human doctors began treating the teacher without waiting to reach their ship. Selly watched them with wide eyes. "Will she live?" she asked. The human doctor looked at her. "We are going to do everything we can." "That does not answer my question." "No," the doctor said gently. "But it is the honest promise I can give you." Outside, the battle became more dangerous. The 2 disabled Krovan ships sent distress signals to their hidden base. More enemy contacts appeared on our sensors. 5. Then 9. Then 14. Oren looked at me. "There is a full Krovan force inside the expanse." I contacted Captain Ward. More enemy ships are approaching. Confirmed. Can you still evacuate everyone? Yes. Can your ship defeat that many vessels? She did not answer immediately. That depends on what they choose to do. The Krovan commander called the human vessel again. Your position is impossible. Our reinforcements will destroy you. Release the Avarians and surrender your weapons. No. You will die for strangers. Captain Ward's voice remained calm. People keep saying that as if it should frighten us. Your crew did not choose this. My crew knew exactly what this ship represented when they joined it. You represent war. No. We represent a warning. The human captain's image appeared on our communication screen for the first time. She looked older than I had expected. Silver lines ran through her dark hair. A thin scar crossed her left eyebrow. Her bridge behind her was busy but controlled. What warning? The Krovan commander demanded. Captain Ward leaned slightly toward the camera. That there is always a line. A line. A point beyond which decent people stop watching. The Krovan reinforcements entered weapons range. 22 enemy vessels now surrounded the last light. Even the human ship could not survive that amount of fire forever. All survivors able to walk must move toward the docking ports, I announced. Leave all personal property behind. The evacuation accelerated. Human teams moved through our corridors. They checked every room. They marked cleared sections. They carried those who could not walk. No one was left alone. I remained on the bridge with Orin and Terra. Commander, you should evacuate, Terra said. I will leave when the last survivor is aboard a shuttle. That may be too late. Then help me make sure it is not. The enemy fleet attacked. Space turned red. Hundreds of beams and missiles moved toward the last light from every direction. The human shield expanded around us. Its blue light filled the windows of the Silver Dawn. The impacts sounded through our damaged hull like distant thunder. The last light fired every weapon it possessed. White beams cut through enemy shields. Human missiles changed direction in flight, following Krovan ships that tried to escape them. Drones surrounded enemy weapons and destroyed them. For every Krovan vessel disabled, 2 more moved forward. The last light's shield began to weaken. Human shield at 72%, Terra reported. Another attack struck. 61%. The humans continued evacuating us. How many remain? I asked. 58. The last light's shield fell to 54%. A Krovan weapon passed through a weak section and struck the human hull. Armor exploded from the side of the vessel. The last light did not retreat. 42 survivors remain, Orin said. More impacts hit the human ship. Shield at 47%. A new voice entered the communication channel. It belonged to the human first officer. Captain, enemy vessels are attempting to surround our engine section. I see them. Recommend emergency withdrawal after the next shuttle returns. How many Avarians remain? 31. Then withdrawal is not an option. Captain, if we lose main engines, none of us leave. Then keep the engines alive. There was no fear in her voice. Only decision. I had spent my career calculating risk. The human captain was not ignoring risk. She understood it completely. She had simply decided that leaving 31 people behind was not acceptable. That difference changed everything. The Krovan commander contacted her again. Your shield is failing, human. Give us the Avarians and you may still escape. Captain Ward looked toward something outside the camera. How many survivors remain aboard the Silver Dawn? A human officer answered. 24. The captain turned back toward the enemy. You will have to wait. The Krovan commander shouted. You are sacrificing hundreds of your people for 24 aliens. No, Captain Ward said. I am trusting hundreds of my people to help save 24 lives. The difference seemed small. It was not. The humans aboard the last light were not helpless victims of their captain's choice. They were part of it. Every engineer keeping the shield alive, every pilot flying through enemy fire, every doctor treating Avarian wounds, and every soldier protecting our corridors had chosen to answer the call. "Commander," Dr. Pellas said over the channel, "the final medical patients are ready. Evacuate them. You need to come now." "How many people remain aboard?" "You, Oren, Terra, and 3 human engineers. Send the final shuttle." A massive explosion shook the last light. The human shield disappeared for half a second. The Silver Dawn's emergency system screamed. Then the shield returned at 30% power. "We are out of time," Terra said. We left the bridge. I looked back once. The command chair where I had spent 3 years stood beneath broken lights. Smoke moved through the air. The Silver Dawn had carried us farther than she had been designed to travel. She had protected us for as long as she could. "Thank you," I whispered. We moved through the corridor. The 3 human engineers were waiting beside the final shuttle. One of them held a small control device. "What is that?" I asked. "A remote command link. For my ship. We connected it to your reactor." I understood. The Silver Dawn could not be allowed to fall into Krovan hands. "I will activate the destruction system after we leave," I said. The human engineer shook his head. "We have a different plan." "What plan?" "Your ship still has maneuvering thrusters." "Barely. Barely is enough." We entered the shuttle. The docking connection released. Our pilot pushed the engines to maximum power. Enemy fire crossed the space around us. Human drones formed a shield around the shuttle. Behind us, the Silver Dawn came alive one final time. Its damaged thrusters fired. The empty exploration cruiser turned toward the largest group of Krovan vessels. The human engineer activated the remote system. Our ship accelerated. The Krovans fired on it, believing survivors might still be aboard. The Silver Dawn entered the center of their formation. Then its reactor exploded. White light filled every window of the shuttle. The blast disrupted 4 enemy shields. The last light fired through the opening. 4 Krovan vessels lost power in less than 5 seconds. Our shuttle reached the human docking bay. The doors closed behind us. For the first time in many hours, there was solid ground beneath my feet. Human medical teams waited inside. They moved the wounded immediately. A young officer approached me. "Commander Sen, Captain Ward asks that you join her on the bridge. Now. She believes you may have information about the expanse that can help us survive." I followed him through the last light. The inside of the human warship surprised me. I expected a dark military vessel filled only with weapons. Instead, I passed medical areas, rescue equipment, storage rooms full of food and water, and large sections designed to hold refugees. The walls displayed the names of worlds. Some were human. Others belonged to alien species. "What are those names?" I asked. The officer looked at them. "Places where this ship has performed evacuations." "How many?" 112. The last light had not been built only to fight wars. It had been built to enter them and bring people out. When we reached the bridge, Captain Ward stood at the center of a circular command platform. The main screen showed dozens of enemy vessels. The human shield was at 26%. Several sections of their ship were burning. Yet the crew remained calm. "Commander Sen," Captain Ward said. "Welcome aboard. Thank you for saving my people. We are not safe yet." "I know." She displayed a map of the expanse. "Our long-range scans show 41 Krovan ships moving toward this position." 41. Including 6 capital vessels. "Then we cannot fight them." "Not directly." "Can your void engine take us away?" "Not while we are this deep inside the dust field. We need to reach open space before we can form an exit corridor. The Krovans will block every route. That is why I need your help." I studied the map. Our research team had spent weeks scanning the expanse before the attack. There were dangerous regions hidden inside it. Gravity storms. Magnetic rivers. Dead planetary fragments moving faster than sensors could easily track. The Silver Dawn had mapped many of them. Our government had ordered us to preserve that data. The data had been transferred to the last light before our ship was destroyed. I pointed toward a narrow path between two clouds. This region leads toward open space. The human navigation officer examined it. The gravity readings are unstable. They change every 11 minutes. Our research team discovered a repeating pattern. During the 7th minute, the path becomes safe for approximately 90 seconds. Can a ship our size pass through? We never tested anything larger than the Silver Dawn. Captain Ward almost smiled. There is a first time for everything. The bridge crew calculated a route. The Krovan fleet tightened around us. Enemy command is hailing, a human officer said. Put it through. A new Krovan appeared on the screen. He wore the armor of a Dominion admiral. Human captain, your actions have caused the loss of 7 Dominion vessels and the escape of enemy witnesses. Surrender immediately. Captain Ward stood straight. No. You are trapped. That is becoming a popular opinion. Our fleet is 40 times stronger than your vessel. Then you should not need to explain it. The admiral's eyes narrowed. You believe courage will save you? No. Navigation will. Captain Ward ended the transmission. The last light turned toward the unstable path. Every remaining Krovan ship moved to stop us. The human vessel accelerated. Its shield fell to 19%. Enemy missiles approached from behind. Human drones destroyed most of them. Several reached the hull. The floor moved under my feet. Damage on decks 30 through 34, an officer reported. Secondary engine cooling is failing. Continue forward, Captain Ward ordered. Gravity path changes in 4 minutes. The Krovans formed a wall ahead of us. 12 ships blocked the entrance. Weapons ready, said the human first officer. Target engines and shield generators only. I looked at Captain Ward. Why do you continue protecting enemy crews? Because defeating someone does not always require killing them. They tried to murder my people. I know. They may try again. I know that too. Then why show mercy? She looked at me. Because mercy says something about us, not about them. The last light opened fire. Its main weapon struck the blocking vessels. 3 moved aside. 4 lost power. The others continued firing. Our shield dropped to 12%. Path change in 90 seconds. The last light pushed between 2 enemy vessels. Their armor passed so close to ours that I could see weapon ports through the main screen. Human defensive cannons fired at point-blank range. 1 Krovan ship turned away. The other tried to strike our engine. Captain Ward gave a quiet order. Forward gravity anchor. A pulse moved from the last light. The enemy vessel stopped instantly, as if space itself had grabbed it. Our ship continued forward. Path opens in 30 seconds. The dust cloud ahead began to move. Broken pieces of planet spun inside it. Lightning flashed between them. This cannot be safe, the first officer said. Commander Sen. Captain Ward asked. I watched the numbers. The pattern was changing exactly as our scientists had predicted. Wait, I said. The Krovan fleet closed behind us. 10 seconds. The gravity storm became stronger. 5. The path opened. Now. The last light entered. If the courage of Captain Ward and her crew has earned your respect, show it by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and sharing this story. Every share sends the signal farther, just like the distress call that brought the last light into the void. The ship shook harder than anything I had experienced aboard the Silver Dawn. Gravity pulled us in several directions. The main screen showed stars stretching into lines. Fragments of dead planets moved around us. One passed close enough to scrape the human shield. The shield dropped to 7%. Krovan vessels followed. The first enemy ship entered too early. A gravity wave caught it. The vessel turned sideways and disappeared into the dust. Two others collided while trying to avoid the storm. The rest slowed down. The last light continued. 30 seconds until the path closes, the navigation officer said. A massive fragment moved across our route. Collision in 12 seconds. Can we destroy it? Captain Ward asked. Negative. It is too large. Can we move around it? Not without leaving the safe path. Everyone looked at the approaching rock. It was the remains of a moon. The last light could not avoid it. Void engine status? Captain Ward asked. Unable to form a complete corridor. I do not need a complete one. The first officer turned toward her. Captain, a partial void entry could tear the ship apart. So could that moon. The drive has never been used inside a gravity storm. Captain Ward placed both hands on the command rail. Then let us collect useful data. The void engine activated. Darkness formed ahead of us. It was smaller and less stable than the doorway through which the last light had arrived. Blue lightning moved across the bridge screens. Impact in 5 seconds. Activate drive. The ship entered the incomplete void corridor. For one moment, everything became silent. I could no longer feel the floor. I could no longer hear the crew. I saw shapes moving beyond the windows. Not stars. Not planets. Things that seemed too large to exist. Then the last light returned to normal space. The dead moon passed behind us. The gravity path closed. The Krovan fleet remained trapped on the other side. Cheers rose across the bridge. They lasted only a few seconds. An officer checked the sensor display. We still have 6 enemy ships with us. The fastest Krovan vessels had entered the path before it closed. One was the Admiral's capital ship. Shield status? Captain Ward asked. 4%. Weapons? Main batteries are overheating. Missile systems are almost empty. Void engine? Offline. The last light had saved us from the fleet, but 6 enemies remained. Our ship was damaged. Its strongest systems were failing. The Krovan admiral appeared on the screen. Part of his bridge was burning. You have delayed the end, he said. Nothing more. Captain Ward looked tired for the first time. Admiral, your main fleet cannot reach us. You have 6 damaged ships. I have nearly 200 rescued civilians aboard. There has been enough fighting. Surrender them. No. Then there will be no peace. Captain Ward closed the channel. They are charging weapons, an officer reported. I stepped closer to her. You cannot protect us and fight them at the same time. I know. Put us in escape shuttles. No. Your crew may survive if we are no longer aboard. We did not cross half a sector to place you back in danger. You may all die. That possibility existed when we answered your call. I felt anger rise inside me. Why? I demanded. Why does a human ship risk hundreds of lives for people your species does not know? The bridge became quiet. Captain Ward looked at the enemy vessels approaching us. Then she looked at me. Because someone has to come. That is not a strategy. No. It is a promise. A promise to whom? To anyone who sends the call. The Krovans fired. The last light's shield absorbed the first attack. Then the shield failed. Red weapons struck the armor. Explosions moved along the hull. Lights on the bridge dimmed. Multiple breaches. Emergency doors responding. Main weapons offline. Enemy vessels preparing another attack. The human ship had nothing left powerful enough to stop them. Then a new signal appeared. 1 contact. Then 5. Then 12. Then more than 50. Ships emerged from normal jump space across the system. Some were human warships. Others were cargo vessels, mining ships, medical carriers, and civilian transports. Their designs were different. Their sizes were different. But every ship carried the symbol of Earth. Who are they? I asked. Captain Ward finally smiled. The people who heard our signal. Before entering the gravity path, the last light had transmitted its location and situation through a human emergency network. Every human vessel within range had received the call. They had not waited for government permission. They had changed course. A mining captain appeared on the communication screen. Last light, this is the Red Hammer. Sorry we are late. Our jump drive is older than my grandfather. Another voice followed. This is medical carrier Hope of Lagos. We are ready to receive casualties. A military commander spoke next. This is the cruiser Warsaw. Krovan vessels are now within our weapons range. The Krovan admiral stared at the growing human force. These ships are civilians, he said. Captain Ward answered. Mostly. They cannot challenge the Dominion. The captain looked at the hundreds of human vessels arriving behind her. You would be surprised what civilians can do when someone needs help. Cargo ships released repair drones. Medical vessels moved beside the last light. Human warships placed themselves between us and the Krovan force. Mining ships charged industrial lasers powerful enough to cut asteroids apart. Even small civilian vessels joined the formation. The Krovans were no longer facing one ship. They were facing a civilization. The human military cruiser Warsaw hailed the Krovan admiral. Withdraw from this system. Or what? Or every ship here will make sure you cannot fire on the rescued vessel again. The admiral looked at the fleet. His 6 ships had been damaged. Human vessels continued arriving. He finally gave the order to retreat. The Krovan ships turned away. No human vessel chased them. No one fired on their engines. The humans simply watched until the enemy disappeared. Only then did Captain Ward sit down. Her hands were shaking. She had hidden it during the battle. Now that her people were safe, she allowed the fear to reach her. I understood something important at that moment. Humans were not fearless. Captain Ward had been afraid. Her crew had been afraid. The civilian pilots who came to help had been afraid. Courage was not the absence of fear. It was the decision that something else mattered more. The medical carrier Hope of Lagos docked with us. Doctors came aboard. The most serious patients were transferred. I went to find Selly. She was sitting outside a human surgical room. Her hands were covered in dried blood. Your teacher? I asked. They are still operating. A human nurse came through the door. The surgery went well, she said. She is stable. Selly began crying. She tried to hide it. The nurse sat beside her. Selly leaned against the human woman's shoulder. They had met less than an hour earlier. Their species had almost no shared history. Yet the human held her as if they were family. Dr. Pellas found me in the corridor. All 11 critical patients are alive, he said. All of them. Human medicine is difficult to describe. You once said survival is not the same as goodness. I remember. Perhaps the humans have found a way to value both. He looked through the window at the doctors working inside. Perhaps. Repairs to the last light took 3 days. The human fleet remained around us. Civilian ships gave food, water, clothing, and medical supplies to our survivors. No one asked for payment. No one asked what the Avarian Union would offer in return. On the second day, I met Captain Ward in one of the observation rooms. The Orphean expanse glowed in the distance. Your ship is called the Last Light, I said. Why? She stood beside the window. It was built after one of our colony disasters. A moon suffered a reactor collapse. Rescue ships tried to reach the surface, but conditions were too dangerous. Did they succeed? Some did. How many people were lost? Almost 2 million. I am sorry. Afterward, we built ships that could survive conditions normal rescue vessels could not. The last light was the first. A warship built because of a rescue failure. The universe is dangerous. Sometimes mercy needs armor. I thought about those words. Did your government order you to answer our call? No. Did you ask permission? There was no time. Could you be punished? Possibly. And your crew accepted that? They voted. They voted. When we detected your signal, we were traveling toward a military training operation. Reaching you required entering unmapped space and delaying our mission. Regulations allowed me to make the choice alone, but I told the crew what we knew. What was the result? 912 voted to answer your call. 7 voted against it. Your crew has 919 members. At the beginning of the battle, I heard the pain in her final words. How many did you lose? 23. My chest tightened. 23 humans had died saving us. Your people paid for my government's decision. They paid for the Krovan decision to attack you. My government left us there. That is something you will need to discuss with them. I do not know how to face their officials. Captain Ward looked at me. Tell them the truth. A week later, the human fleet escorted us to Avarian territory. Union Command sent military vessels to meet us at the border. Their leading officer was Admiral Kale Torin, one of the officials who had approved the decision to classify us as unrecoverable. He requested a private meeting. I refused. The meeting took place in the Last Light's main assembly room, in front of our survivors, Captain Ward, and representatives from the human rescue fleet. Admiral Torin appeared through a holographic connection. Commander Sen, he said, the Union is relieved to learn that you survived. A quiet anger moved through the room. Are you? I asked. Of course. Your final message ordered us to prevent capture. The situation required difficult strategic judgment. You told us no rescue force would come. Sending Union ships would have exposed populated systems to Krovan attack. I understand the calculation. Then you understand why the decision was necessary. No, I said. I understand why it was easy. His expression changed. Commander, you are speaking under emotional stress. 186 people were left to die. Emotion seems reasonable. The survival of the Union must come before the survival of one ship. Captain Ward remained silent. She allowed me to speak for myself. A human vessel entered the expanse alone, I said. It fought an entire Krovan force. 23 human crew members died. Do you know what their government gained? Presumably political influence. Nothing. The last light came because we asked for help. No advanced civilization risks a capital warship without strategic purpose. Captain Ward finally stepped forward. Admiral, you may believe whatever allows you to sleep. Torin looked at her. Your interference has increased tension with the Krovan Dominion. The Dominion attacked civilians. The Silver Dawn entered an area claimed by them. Your own maps identified it as unclaimed space. The Admiral did not answer. Captain Ward continued. You did not avoid war. You taught the Krovans that they could attack your people without consequence. Human military philosophy is not relevant to Union security. Perhaps not. But your abandoned citizens are standing on my ship. Torin looked toward me. Commander Sen, return to Union space. A formal review will examine the mission. Will the review include the order that abandoned us? All relevant decisions will be considered. Then I will return. Relief appeared briefly on his face. I had not finished. I will return aboard the last light. The human rescue records, battle data, and your command messages will be presented publicly. Those messages are classified. They stopped being classified when you sent them to a dying ship. The transmission ended soon after. Our arrival at Avarian Prime changed the Union. The government tried to control the story. It failed. The students spoke publicly. Doctors described the medical crisis. Crew members released recordings of the Krovan attack. Then the human fleet shared footage of the rescue. Billions watched the last light emerge from the void. They heard Captain Ward refuse to leave us. They watched human shuttles fly through enemy fire. They saw civilian ships answer the last light's call. Most importantly, they read the Union message that had called us unrecoverable. Protests began across 7 worlds. Citizens asked a question the government could not answer. What was the purpose of a union that would not come for its own people? Admiral Torin resigned. 3 senior officials were removed. The Union Council created a new rescue command. Its first rule was simple. No active distress call could be rejected only because the people in danger were considered strategically unimportant. Human advisors helped design the new rescue vessels. They were smaller than the last light, but they carried strong shields, advanced medical systems, and enough weapons to defend the people they came to save. The first vessel was named the Silver Dawn. I was asked to command it. I accepted. 6 months later, I returned to human space to attend a memorial ceremony aboard the last light. The names of the 23 humans who died during our rescue had been placed on a black wall. I stood before each name. Some were engineers. Some were soldiers. 2 were shuttle pilots. 1 was a doctor. They had families. They had plans. They had lives waiting for them. They had died for strangers. Sally came with me. Her teacher had recovered. Sally placed a small Avarian flower beneath every name. Captain Ward stood behind us. I wish I could tell their families something that would make the loss smaller, I said. Nothing makes it smaller. Do they regret what happened? Some are angry. Some are proud. Most are both. Would your crew answer the call again? Captain Ward looked toward the memorial wall. Yes. Even knowing the cost. Especially knowing the cost. I once believed humans did not calculate risk. I was wrong. Humans calculated it very carefully. They measured the distance. They studied the enemy. They understood the possibility of failure. They counted the lives they might lose. Then they looked at the people waiting for help. And sometimes they went anyway. To my people, that choice once appeared irrational. Now I understood it as something greater than logic. It was responsibility. It was the belief that power created duty. The belief that survival without compassion was only a slower form of death. The belief that when someone cried into the darkness should not be the only thing that answered. If this human stand against impossible odds moved you, support the channel in your own way, leave a like, join our growing crew by subscribing, and pass this story to another listener. A story survives when someone chooses to carry it forward. 2 years after our rescue, the Krovan Dominion attacked an Avarian border colony. Their commanders expected the Union to withdraw. That was what we had always done. We gathered strength. We protected the larger systems. We accepted smaller losses. The Krovans had built their entire strategy around our caution. But the Union had changed. The new Silver Dawn received the colony's distress call. I was on the bridge when it arrived. Civilian settlement under Krovan attack. Defensive systems failing. Thousands require evacuation. My officers looked at me. We were 1 ship. The enemy had 7. Union command sent a message. Reinforcements are 6 hours away. Maintain safe distance until fleet arrival. The old Leora-san would have obeyed. The old Leora-san would have calculated that 1 rescue vessel could not save a colony against 7 warships. But I remembered the last light. I remembered Captain Ward saying that someone had to come. Set course for the colony, I ordered. My first officer looked at the enemy readings. Commander, we are badly outnumbered. I can count. Command ordered us to maintain distance. Command is not aboard this ship. A few officers smiled. Open a wide emergency channel, I said. Our signal traveled across Union space. This is the rescue cruiser Silver Dawn. A civilian colony is under attack. We are responding. Any vessel able to assist is requested to follow. We entered jump space alone. We did not arrive alone. 4 merchant vessels followed. Then 2 mining ships. Then a medical carrier. 3 Union patrol vessels changed course without waiting for instructions. By the time we reached the colony, 26 ships flew beside us. It was not a fleet. Not officially. It was simply a group of people who had heard the call. The Krovan commander contacted us. Withdraw. This colony has no strategic value. I thought about how many times those words had been used to justify death. No strategic value. Unrecoverable. Acceptable loss. Words designed to turn living people into numbers. I opened the channel. Krovan commander, the colony has 40,000 civilians. Their presence does not change its military value. It changes ours. You cannot defeat us. Maybe not. Then why have you come? I looked at the ships beside us. Some carried weapons. Most did not. Every one of them had chosen to be there. Because rescue was never meant to come, I said. Until someone decided it should. The battle lasted 3 hours. We did not destroy the Krovan fleet. We held it back. Merchant ships evacuated civilians. Mining vessels used tractor beams to move damaged transports. Patrol ships protected escape routes. Our medical teams treated anyone who reached us. Union reinforcements arrived before our shields failed. The Krovans retreated. All 40,000 civilians survived. After the battle, Captain Ward contacted me. She had watched the emergency reports from human territory. I heard you ignored an order, she said. I learned from a dangerous influence. You also challenged 7 enemy vessels with a rescue ship. Today it was a warship. She laughed. How many did you save? 40,000. Then it was worth it. I lost 3 crew members. Her expression became serious. I am sorry. I keep wondering whether I made the right choice. Good. I was surprised. Good. Commanders who never question the cost of their choices become dangerous. How do you live with it? You remember the people you lost. You remember the people you saved. And you never pretend either group cancels the other. That was the human answer. Not that the sacrifice did not matter. Not that victory made pain disappear. Humans carried both. The grief and the pride. The fear and the courage. The cost and the reason. Years passed. The Avarian Union and humanity became formal allies. Trade routes opened. Shared academies were built. Human rescue doctrine became part of Avarian military training. Avarian caution helped improve human planning. Humans taught us when calculations should end. We taught humans how to make their impossible plans slightly less impossible. Together, we stopped Krovan expansion. Not through conquest. Not through the destruction of their worlds. We protected every system they attacked. We answered every distress signal. We made their strategy useless. The Dominion had relied on isolation. It believed small colonies could be taken because larger powers would not risk themselves to defend them. Once every colony knew help would come, Krovan fear lost its strength. The war ended without a final great battle. The Dominion could no longer afford to attack people who refused to remain alone. I eventually became director of the Union Rescue Command. On the wall behind my desk, I kept 3 objects. The first was a piece of armor from the original Silver Dawn. The second was the message that classified my crew as unrecoverable. The third was a photograph of the last light emerging from the void. Young officers often asked why I kept the government message. Does it not make you angry? They would say. Yes, I told them. Then why display it? So we remember what happens when caution becomes an excuse. Every rescue commander was required to read that message. Then they read the final transmission sent by Captain Ward during the battle. It had been recorded seconds before the last light entered the gravity path. Her transmission was directed to every nearby human vessel. We have 186 rescued survivors aboard. Our ship is damaged. Enemy forces are closing. We require assistance. Any vessel receiving this signal, please respond. Within minutes, answers had begun arriving. A mining ship. A medical carrier. A military cruiser. A cargo transport. Then dozens more. That was humanity's true strength. It was not the size of their weapons. It was not their strange engines. It was not even their willingness to fight. It was the way they answered one another. A human could be alone in the darkest part of the galaxy, surrounded by enemies, with failing shields and no clear escape. But once that human sent the call, something began to change. Other humans heard it. One changed course. Then another. Then 10. Then 100. An isolated ship became a fleet. A helpless stranger became someone's responsibility. An impossible rescue became possible because enough people refused to accept that it was not. Decades after the Orphean rescue, the last light was finally retired. Its armor was damaged beyond reasonable repair. Its engines belonged to an older generation. New human vessels were faster, stronger, and more efficient. The retirement ceremony took place above Earth. Thousands of ships attended. Avarian vessels flew beside human ones. Selly, now a senior doctor, stood with me on the observation deck. Captain Ward had grown old. She walked slowly and used a small metal support. But when she entered the ceremony hall, every person stood. Humans. Avarians. Members of 12 other species rescued by the last light during its years of service. Captain Ward looked uncomfortable with the attention. She had never considered herself a hero. That was one of the reasons everyone else did. The final name added to the last light's hull was not a person. It was a sentence. We heard you. Captain Ward asked me to speak during the ceremony. I stood before thousands and told them about the first moment the human warship appeared. I described our dying vessel. The students in dark corridors. The wounded without medicine. The government message. The Krovan weapons. Then I described the shadow opening behind the enemy fleet. I described the last light moving into danger. I described Captain Ward's first words. We received your distress call. Those words had changed my life. They had changed my civilization. Many people believe this ship became famous because it won an impossible battle, I said. They are wrong. The last light became important before it fired a single weapon. It became important at the moment its crew heard the call and chose to answer. The hall became completely silent. My people once believed rescue should be decided by numbers. We believed some lives were too distant, too few, or too difficult to save. Humanity taught us that numbers can describe a problem, but they should not always decide our response. I looked toward Captain Ward. Rescue was never meant to come for us. Our enemies knew it. Our government had accepted it. We knew it too. Behind me, the image of the last light emerging from the void appeared across the wall. Then a human warship arrived. The ceremony ended with the last light making one final journey. Its engines activated. The old vessel moved past the gathered fleet. Every ship turned on its outer lights. A corridor of light formed through space. Human rescue pilots saluted. Avarian officers placed their hands over their hearts. Captain Ward watched without speaking. What will happen to it? Selly asked. It will remain in Earth's orbit as a memorial, I said. It deserves rest. Perhaps. Captain Ward heard us. Ships do not need rest, she said. People do. Then will you finally rest? I asked. She smiled. I will try. An emergency alarm suddenly sounded inside the ceremony hall. For one moment, everyone looked confused. A communications officer approached Captain Ward. Ma'am, a transport ship has reported engine failure near Jupiter. Their orbit is becoming unstable. Captain Ward looked through the window at the retired last light. Then she looked at the new rescue ships gathered around it. Before she could speak, dozens of captains began sending responses. We are changing course. We have medical capacity. We can reach them in 9 minutes. We are moving now. The old captain smiled. Her lesson no longer belonged only to her crew. It had become part of all of us. The transport ship was rescued easily. No battle was fought. No enemy was defeated. Most people across the galaxy never heard about it. But I remembered that small rescue more clearly than many great victories. Because it proved the promise would continue after the last light was gone. Someone would always answer. That is the truth I carried from the Orphean expanse. When you are trapped in darkness, hope does not always arrive as a miracle. Sometimes it arrives as a signal on a damaged screen. Sometimes it is a voice asking how many survivors remain. Sometimes it is a doctor kneeling beside someone from another species. Sometimes it is a mining ship turning away from profitable work. Sometimes it is a captain looking at impossible odds and saying no one will be left behind. And sometimes hope arrives as a human warship emerging from the void, placing itself between death and people it has never met. Not because victory is certain. Not because the cost is small. Not because the people waiting for rescue can offer anything in return. It comes because they called. It comes because someone heard them. It comes because the humans decided that was reason enough. So when the histories of our alliance speak about humanity's weapons, their fleets, and their victories, I always correct them. Those things are powerful. But they are not what makes humanity dangerous to cruel empires. Humanity is dangerous because it refuses to accept the loneliness on which cruelty depends. Tyrants separate people. Humans gather them. Invaders create fear. Humans answer it. Empires decide who is worth saving. Humans ask where the rescue is needed. The Krovan Dominion believed it had trapped one weak Avarian ship. It did not understand that our distress call had crossed an invisible line. On the other side of that line stood a species that considered a cry for help to be a responsibility. The Krovans expected silence. Instead, the void opened. And humanity came through.